All right. Well, let's get into the questions. Alex is the first one. This was from a week ago. So he says, hey, do you recommend checking if a domain is delisted? Or how do you recommend, excuse me, if a domain is delisted from Google other than the site colon method? That's really the only way, the only method that I know how to do it is, or submit the domain to Search Console if you own the domain. Because if you submit it to Search Console and then you get um, a manual penalty notification, which you can just go to, settings or whatever it is in Search Console and look at the manual penalty or whatever notification section, and you'll know if it's been de-indexed. It'll tell you if it's been de-indexed with a manual penalty. Otherwise, it could be algorithmic penalty, and you won't know it without searching because those don't show notifications in Search Console. Algorithmic penalties don't show notifications. It's only a manual penalty that shows that. So the only way that I know how to do it is site colon operator domain search to see what's currently indexed. But if it's an expired domain that hasn't been published for quite some time, it may have been de-indexed and you wouldn't know because the site colon operator isn't going to show anything that's indexed because it's been, a domain that has not, it's been, expired for a number of months or whatever it is. And Google, like those pages dropped out of the index. So you don't know. And we experience that. Remember, we buy a ton of expired domains. That's a lot of what Semantic Links is built around. It's expired domains. And so, we buy literally hundreds of domains per month. That's not a joke. And because of that, there is always a small percentage of them that we find that even like right after we purchase them, we find out that they're domains that won't index. And so we have to replace those domains. And that happens, it's a very small percentage actually, but it does happen. And that's the only way that we search for it. We check it was once we publish a site, we don't submit all of our domains to Search Console anymore. We used to, but it became too hard to do because we literally manage over, I don't know, I think it's 8,000 domains now. And so it was very difficult to manage all of those across various search consoles and all of that. So by link service, we manage 2,500 domains currently, but we also have a ton of rebuilds, which rebuilds are, where we buy a custom domain and assign it to one client and one client only. And so again, with that, we have literally thousands and thousands of domains, and it's just very difficult to use Search Console because otherwise we'd put everything into one Search Console account. It was too hard to spread them across multiple accounts when you have that many domains. So we stopped doing that. So instead, what we do is we'll publish a site onto the domain, and then we submit it for indexing, and then we'll wait for a few days to see if it indexes before we will then assign it as a client domain, essentially. And if it doesn't index after a few days, we'll resubmit it and we'll give it another couple of days. And if it doesn't index after that, then we'll replace it. And we use the site colon operator domain search for that. Okay.